Hey, what's up, soldiers? My name is GregFPS, the Zombies Extraordinaire, and welcome to my full Leviathan Easter egg guide. If you guys want to download the map, it'll be linked down below in the description for Black Ops 3 on PC, and also I will have timestamps for the entire Easter egg, and also everyone that helped me make this guide possible is down in the description as well. So we're going to start off building the specialist weapon, which is called Poseidon's Wrath, and it can be on these hooks right here outside of spawn on the right hand side. If it's not there, you want to make your way by the MP5K wall by, and it can be leaning up against this bench right here. And if it's not there, it's going to be on the right hand side, right on top of the vent as soon as you go in the tunnel from spawn. Now we're going to make our way to the opposite side of spawn and go into the cafeteria past the M16 wall by. It can spawn in 3 spots here. First one can be on this chair right here. If it's not there, it's going to be next to Jug on this table. And if it's not there, it's going to be around the corner on top of a crate of sorts that is right here. The last and final part is going to be in the room with the man inside of the tube. First, we're going to check the double tap room. It can be inside of here, where it happens to be next to all of the medical supplies, or in room number 4 on top of this like table, I guess. And the last and final location can be on top of boxes, which is around the corner. So there you go. Those are the buildables for the Poseidon's Wrath. Now, you can build this at one of 2 buildable tables. I like to build the shield usually over at this location, but in this game, I built the Wrath of Poseidon, or the specialist weapon. Now, you can also build a shield on this map, and there's only 2 buildable tables, so you got to decide which one you want to do. In this game, I built the shield here, so now I'm going to show you guys all the locations for that. So first, we're going to start off by reserve soda, and it can spawn on this metal crate right here, or rack, I guess. If it's not there, it's going to be over here next to this metal rack, and if it's not there, it's going to be on top of a pipe or on a pipe right here. So that is the first part. The next part is going to be over by Speed Cola, and this one has 3 different locations. It can be on top of these barrels right here. If it's not there, it can be on top of the barrels on the opposite side of that area where it happens to be in my game. And if it's not there, it's going to be between 2 boxes, which are outside, kind of like debris, and it can be right there. So those are the locations for the second part. And the last and final part for the shield is going to be in the biodome. So the first one can be over here leaning up against this metal area, and you can grab it right away. If it's not there, you're going to make your way around towards the entrance to go downstairs. And there is a metal sheet where it can be stuck to, and that is the last part for the shield. And also down here, it can be over here leaning up against this like sarcophagus, I guess. So anyways, guys, now it is time for the full Easter egg. Hope you enjoy the video. All right, guys, so I like to go to the labs first and get a hacker device because it allows you to open doors for 200 points, which is going to allow you to open up the map a lot earlier. Now, the thing is, you can't breathe in the water, so you got to be really careful, but you can open doors from the inside, and it really will save you in the long run. So once you get a hacker device, you're going to make your way over to the room with the man with a tube, and as you can see, the man's not there yet. So you got to press the red button as soon as you walk in the room, and then it will open up, and he will be there. So now, one of the 4 control panels around him, there's 4 of them, is going to allow you to interact with it. So you got to interact with this panel, and then you're going to hack it with your hacker device. Now, it's going to give you the prompt if you're at the right one, and usually it's lit up red, which means that it will allow you to interact with it. So as you can see, I initiated a link, and then I hacked it. Now, what's going to happen is there's going to be a control panel that is somewhere on the map that is going to be making a noise. And it looks like that one that I just passed. Now, I only show 4 in my game, but there's a lot more of them. So just keep that in mind. You'll be able to hear it, and it makes a very, very distinct noise, which I'm going to play right now. All right, so once you find that, all you have to do is press square. It's going to be blinking red, and it's going to turn green, and that's when you know you're done. So you're going to make your way back to the same room. Once again, you're going to hack another control panel, and you're just going to repeat this process over and over. As you saw, I just got one there. I got one here near spawn, and I got one more of them right here. So just make sure you hack it in between each time. And then you're going to return back to him, and he's going to say that he needs uranium, which you can get from a submarine, and that he doesn't have enough right now. So basically what you have to do is blow up the submarine that's been driving around. So you release the mine here right outside the labs, and you're going to go around the corner, and there's going to be a mine that comes out of a small bunker that you're going to use to blow up the submarine. You can't just use any mine on the map. It will not work. So as you can see, there was a shark. If you kill 5 sharks, you can get a shark mask, which is really, really useful. But anyways, I waited for the submarine to come around, and I shot the mine and blew up the submarine, and it's actually going to end up crashing around the corner, as you can see. So the uranium comes out of it. Now, the next thing is very important. The uranium you have to bring through the water, because if it's exposed to air for too long, it will actually end up blowing up. So you need to make sure that the excavator opens up all 3 different areas on the map to make it the easiest way to get there. So the codes on screen right now are all 3 codes that you can enter into the submarine in order to get the excavators to dig. Now, keep in mind, you will need to hack them in spawn after you enter the codes and they breach it so that you can actually get through the different areas. So just keep that in mind. Maybe have someone wait in spawn with a hacker device to release those. But anyways, you pick up their uranium and you go through all the way. Now, I already had the different areas open, making it a lot easier for me. The only spot that was exposed to air for a little bit was the cafeteria, but I went right out right away, so it wasn't too bad. And also, I did blow up the labs as well to have water in there to make it a little bit easier as well. So the more areas you have underwater will make it a lot easier. So then you just deposit the uranium right there in this tube, and he will say that he doesn't have enough power, so we have to do another step next. Alright, so you may have noticed that when you killed all the jumping jacks on a special round, you got a key previously earlier in the game. So you're going to use that key and you're going to open up a drawer that is located in a desk, which is in the labs. Now, you may have noticed one room that kind of doesn't belong in the labs, and all you have to do is open up the drawer, and there's going to be a skull in there that we're actually going to need for the Easter egg. So you're going to grab the skull after using the key to open it up, and then you're going to make your way over to the biodome and go all the way down, and there's a small shrine there. You're going to place the skull, and what you have to do is get soul kills down there with your team, or you can do it by yourself. And eventually you press square on it and a portal will open up. You go inside of the portal and there are going to be the 4 Primus statues around. All you have to do is throw grenades at each of the different statues, and the orb that is above them is all going to collect in the middle once you do it for all 4 of the statues. So this step's really easy. You can do it by yourself or you can do it with friends. It doesn't really matter. But everyone has to be in the middle once all the orbs are there. And as you can see, it's going to light up and all 4 players have to be in the middle and press the F at the same time to interact with it. So as you can see here, we're just waiting to interact because all of my teammates are not here. So we're going to all interact with it and we're going to fall down into the first boss fight. So this is actually really, really cool. But basically how this works is you're going to be fighting this guy, and it's really not that hard of a boss fight, but basically you're just going to keep dealing damage to him with your shots until you see a max ammo drop, because eventually that means that you have dealt enough damage to him. Then he's going to go in the middle and charge up from all the zombies that are still on the map, and you have to stand behind the column, otherwise you will down. It's just like the Horizon Drag boss fight with electricity. So as you can see, 2 of my teammates ended up downing from that. And basically you just keep repeating this process. You have to stand behind the pillars one more time, and eventually he will die and drop a max ammo. And then you get 1-inch punches for completing that step. So then you have to make your way back into the laboratory in the same room where you actually got the skull previously, and you have to punch this small poster, or I guess picture, and then behind it is the Vrill device. So now it is on to the next step of the Easter egg. Alright guys, so then you're going to make your way over to the laboratory where you got the hacker device, and there's going to be a smashed door, and behind it is a scientist. So basically he's going to say, is anyone there? You press F and basically you interact with him. He'll say he can get you crystals. So what I want you guys to do, this is going to be very, very difficult to explain, so bear with me. If you have questions, let me know and I'll try to respond to you. But basically on these computers, I have 1, 4, 2, 3. Each of these computers, if you take away the numbers, is connected to a button. All right, so the first computer is always going to be connected to a button. The second one's always going to be connected to a button. The third one is always going to be connected to a button, and same with the fourth one. So I have the order 1, 4, 2, 3, and the way I kind of go by it is each computer is the next computer in the order. So whatever number shows up, that's the computer you have to hit. So right here is the first computer. So for example, if you got 1 in the first computer, you would hit this one. All right. If you got number 2 in the next computer, you would hit this one right here, which is connected to computer number 2. This could be 4 in your game, and you have to hit it last. But for me, this one is computer number 3. So this is always the third computer, whatever number is on there. And then this is the fourth computer right here. So basically, you have to hit the buttons and the order that shows up on the other screens initially. So now let's get into the next part, which is Samantha Says. Okay, so once you enter the buttons correctly or hit the correct order of the buttons, there's going to be a color sequence that is going to show up on the computers. It works exactly the same as Samantha Says. It will show you a sequence of colors. You need to enter that same exact sequence back into the computers. And the last one is always going to be 6 colors. So you can write it down if you need to remember it, or just remember it based off memory. So once that's done, it will flash green and give you a number combination. I got 6083 in my game. It's always going to be a random 4-digit number. So you need to remember that. And you jump into the submarine and you need to enter that number into the keypad. It could be 1111 for you. It's a random number. Mine was 6083. And if you are having trouble entering it, aim for the bottom right hand corner of each key, press enter, and a secret compartment room is going to open up in the submarine, and you can pick up the valve. So that valve is very important, and now you need to place the valve in 5 different areas on the map. The first one is going to be right here, right outside of spawn, and you need to remember the color of the wheel and the numbers. So white 4 is what I'm going to write down, and then spin it. Write this down. It makes it so much easier if you're having trouble. The next one is blue 2, because the wheel or valve is blue and it had the number 2. So I'm going to spin it once again. The next one is going to end up being a red wheel or valve, and it has the number 3 next to it. And once again, I'm going to spin it and write that down. As you can see, we're going to turn the valve. The next one is going to end up being a green one, and it has the number 1 next to it. So I'm going to turn that valve once again. It's the exact same thing. And the last and final of the wheels is going to be yellow, and this one is going to be 5. So you need to remember this. Now you're going to go into the room with the guy inside of the tube, and it's going to have another number combination for each of the colors. And this is how many times you're going to end up setting the pressure to for each of the different valves. We're going to go to another spot that's going to have valves, and this corresponds with the exact same numbers that you got with the wheels. So it's very important that you remember these, or have a friend inside of here when you're doing this, kind of relaying it back to you. So for example, we're going to go out, and by the way, one of the valves will not be placed. You need to place it in one out of these 5 different things. So as you can see, I'm going to place it. Now the wheel that was number 1 was green, so I know that green inside of the man's room with the tube said 3, so I need to set the pressure to 3. Number 2 was a blue wheel, so in the room with the guy in the tube, it was set to 2, so I need to turn the pressure to 2. The next one was 3, and I know that one was red. And inside the room with the guy in the tube, it was set to 5. So I need to turn that one to pressure 5. And all you have to do is just spin the wheel. You go to the right side of the wheel if you want to turn it up, and to the left side if you want to turn it down. The next one was 4, which is white, and this one needed to be set to 4. So all I know is I turn it to 4. And the last and final one was yellow, which was 5, but inside the room it was already set to 1, so it was already set and we're already done. Now it's to the next step. So you're going to go back to the labs and add a wheel and interact with it, and then Dr. Zav will come out of the door, and basically this is an escort step. So you want to save 1 zombie. If you're playing co-op, have one of your teammates hold a zombie, and then basically all you have to do is follow him. Now This step does take a little bit of time because he walks around the entire map, which can be a little annoying, and he's going to stop in certain spots and do a quote, and then Nova Crawlers or the jumping jacks are going to spawn from Dire Eyes. So just keep that in mind. If you want to speed him up a little bit, all you have to do is knife him and he will skip the like talking that he does. But like I said, Nova Crawlers will spawn, but basically just keep following him around. I sped this part up, so basically you're going to follow him around all the way. He's going to stop and just keep walking around. He goes through the labs again after you already spawn him in, and then you're going to make your way through. Now he can down from zombies, so that's why I recommend training a zombie away, but eventually he's going to come into the PhD room here, and then he's going to walk inside of a door and open up a garage that has crystals inside of it that you can use to upgrade the harpoon weapon, and also you'll need it later on in the Easter egg. So as you can see, you can just grab the crystals. Now it's time for the next step. Alright guys, so your entire team needs to make its way to the soul generator, where you're going to be filling the soul generator up with zombie souls. So I would definitely recommend having a couple pretty good weapons for this, and all you're really doing is getting zombie kills, and you're basically going to compress it into a uranium blob again. I guess stone, I don't really know what to call uranium. Anyways, it's going to be rainbow colored this time, and you kind of just walk over it along with the max ammo to collect it, and then the power is going to completely shut off on the map. So that means you need to do 3 lockdowns, and this is probably the hardest step of the entire Easter egg. So the first lockdown is going to be over in the labs. You can do these in any order, but basically you're just defending that panel that everyone in your team activated, and you don't want zombies to hit it. I would definitely recommend having guns like the Ray Gun Mark II, the Boom Hilda, the Wave Gun, and also the Electrified Harpoon. It's the upgraded version. It's really good for blocking off doorways, and I would highly recommend that you guys have a really good plan going into this. Make sure you stay safe, and you can basically block off the entire panel with the electrical harpoon. The next one's going to be located on your way to the cafeteria, literally right outside of it. And this one is pretty difficult to defend because the zombies come in from a few weird angles. And the last and final one is going to be located in the spawn room. Now, once again, the electrical harpoon is your best friend for this. It's going to block off a lot of ways that the zombies will go and kill them, and it will definitely help you out in the long run. I 100% promise that. Make sure you get this thing. It is so useful, and everyone on your team can get it from the box. So if you really feel like going the extra rounds, it's definitely worth it. So then you make your way and turn on the backup power, which is located next to the computer with all of the screens that you can use to get free Gersh devices. And I'll have a link down below and a word guide on how to do that specifically if you're interested. So anyways, guys, now what you need to do is throw QEDs. But if you want to get free QEDs, you can actually enter the numbers 9355 into the panel. Now you need to make sure that you already picked up the Vrill device, otherwise this code will not work and you will not be able to get QEDs. This is the only way to get free ones, or you can just get them from the box normally if you are lucky enough to get them. So now that we have QEDs, we're going to throw it at 3 different generators outside the map. The first one is going to be located over here, and you will see a purple Gersh device effect if it's collected correctly and thrown correctly. Basically just throw it directly at it because the range on these things are ridiculous, and you just need to throw it basically right at it and it should work and you shouldn't have any issues. The next one's right over here, and the last and final one is going to be located by Speed Cola, where you just finished the soul generator step, and this one is going to be out there. For some reason this one didn't have a purple effect. It was a little bit weird, but it still collected it anyways, so we ended up doing that step correctly. Now you need to make your way into the room with the guy in the test tube, and you're going to place all 3 of those items on the 3 different prongs that you collected after throwing those QEDs. And then what you need to do is literally throw a Gersh device right at the man, literally right next to it, like inside of where he is, and it should work. And he will be talking during this entire step, but eventually he's going to disappear and you are going to get rewarded with perma perks, all the perks on the map. and if you go down and you get revived, you will keep them. Then what you need to do is pick up the Vrill device, and then it is time for the boss fight. So you can make your way to the submarine right next to the spawn room, and boom, it is time for the craziest boss fight in custom zombies history. So this one's going to be a little bit hard to explain, but I'm going to try my best. So without further ado, guys, let's get right into the boss fight. Alright guys, so there are a few things you really need to be cautious about in the boss fight. The more players you have, the more hectic it's going to be, but you want to make sure that you have good weapons. The harpoon is great, and the wave gun is great as well. Those are like probably the two best guns that you can have for the boss fight. The Mark II is alright, and having an LMG is actually really good for dealing damage as well. But basically you're just going to be shooting at the Leviathan's second dot on its forehead, and if you get hit markers, you know you're dealing enough damage to actually hurt it, I guess. And essentially one main thing is you need to watch out for the hands. If they're floating above you and look like they're getting lower and lower to the ground, make sure you get out of there. I would just recommend keep moving the entire time, and you shouldn't get hit at all, and just keep shooting the Leviathan until it starts getting hurt. And eventually what's going to happen is there's going to be another attack that it's going to do, and this attack is the full wipe attack, which is probably the easiest one to avoid, but at the same time it's pretty difficult. So as you can see, he's charging up right here, so we have to go behind a crate and kind of just sit behind the crate while there's a bunch of blue energy going around all of us. And this attack can insta down you if you're out in the open, so make sure you avoid that attack completely, because it can be very, very hectic and very hard to avoid as well. Now eventually when you deal enough damage to the Leviathan, it's going to go on the other side of the boat and basically just keep dealing a lot of damage. Another attack is the laser one. This one you also want to get behind a crate for. And then eventually when you deal enough damage to the Leviathan after switching back and forth twice, then you're going to fight the same boss from the map. He's a little bit stronger than he was actually on the map or in the first boss fight, but this is probably the easiest part of the boss fight. And then the Leviathan is going to come back again, and this time he's going to be a lot weaker than he was, and all you have to do is just keep damaging him. He'll switch back and forth a few times, and then the boss fight is over. Just focus fire, throwing a Gersh and then aiming at its forehead. Everyone shooting is a great way to take out the boss very effectively. So anyways guys, that is the full Easter egg guide for Leviathan in Black Ops 3 Custom Zombies. Once again, all the links will be down in the description, the timestamps, all that stuff. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe if you're new. I would really, really appreciate it. And also, if you have any questions, you can hit me up on Twitter at GregFPS. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.